Alright, welcome to the aircraft. This today flight will be a 737. We're going to take the 737 from Seattle, which is where we are now, and we're going to fly to Portland, Oregon. If we pull up the GPS here, you'll see that the flight in itself isn't too awfully far at all. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you what we'll do. Show you the map here. And so what we're going to do is we'll fly straight out here, and we'll probably take a left over the lakes here, and we'll come on down towards Portland. And not sure where we'll land. We'll check a look at that as soon as we get our clearance to land. Most of the time it'll probably be from over here on 28R, but it depends on what the winds are looking like, and of course what the other traffic is looking like. So it's not too long of a flight here, but we've got a lot of packages on board, a lot of weight on board to deliver. So we'll go ahead and get set here and get everything in order. So first thing I like to do is I bring up my display so I can sort of just map everything out. We'll just kind of set our speed here, our hold selector, and we'll do about 230 there. Heading is fine. We're going to switch to GPS mode. We're going to turn Flight Director on. We'll set our altitude for 15,000 and take further instruction once we reach cruising. 15,000 is what I've set for the IFR for this flight. To go from Seattle to Portland in a 737 is not too awfully long of a flight, so you might get up to 22, but right now we'll just stick with 15 for a bit and go from there. Set our vertical speed here for 25 feet per minute, and we'll just do a cursory check here. Let's go ahead and move our we're going to go ahead and move flaps to 2, so you can see they jumped up to 2. Outside the craft here, looking at the flaps, just making sure. We'll do a check of the rudders, check of the everything, make sure that's good. Looks great. Looks really good. That UPS logo looks fantastic. Get back on board the craft here. And we are going to be clear for takeoff here. Alright, everybody sit back, relax, enjoy the flight. It's going to be a quick hopper here. See Seattle over here in the north, and what we're going to do right now is go ahead and fine-tune the GPS, so the VOR should lock on and we'll start turning here. Once we get out of Seattle, I think the loading will be a bit better. You start to be a bit more smooth with the frame rate, but Seattle's real populated with buildings, and it's real populated with features like buildings and airports and all the stuff you'd see in a big city. Portland's not so bad. So once we get on our heading path for the GPS here, we should be good to go. This is a 30-degree bank turn, which is the most this craft will do, and I'm okay with 30 degrees. I got no problems with that. I don't have anybody on board except myself, my co-pilot, a couple radio men, couple UPS employees, and a whole lot of bags, and a whole lot of gifts, and a whole lot of boxes. So we're just cruising on over there. We got 25 feet per minute, and if we take a look, we're rising to 4,000 feet, doing really well. We'll reset our altimeter just to make sure we're level with the altitude indicator, and so it looks like we are. Take a look outside the craft here. You can sort of see down here's where we took off. Beautiful mountains back here too, right? Better view there. So there's 3 airports here, regional, international, and I think this is Boeing. It's either this one or this one, but Boeing builds airplanes here. Maybe it's here because that runway's a bit longer, so that would make more sense, I think. Let's get back in the cockpit here. See if we can zoom in a bit. There I am. Hello. Yeah, we're doing okay. This is good. All right. We're at 8,000 feet and still rising, no problem. Once we're on the heading path, right? So our airplane is here. This heading indicates where we want to go. Once we intercept this line, our aircraft will line up with that heading. And then we should be pretty good to go. And then we'll contact radio control and get some directions. You gotta love it up here. You gotta love it up here. You can hear my rotators, the rotations of the engines really heating up right now. Took it up about plus 10 because we're really at a high angle here. About 10 degrees nose up, which is fine as long as we maintain speed. If we drop below and we get too low, boy, she's gonna stall out and we're gonna have problems. This mountain should look pretty familiar to everybody. This is Mount St. Helens. Well, yeah, it should be. Anyway, that's the biggest mountain, right? So that's got to be the one. But that's it. So we're heading, straight on over to our left, Mount St. Helens, over to our right. Eventually, would just be all ocean. Let's see, we're almost leveling out here. Still got a couple thousand more feet to go. So we want to get to 15 or 13.5 and heading up here. So we're looking pretty good. 14 just now passing. So we're going to go ahead and check in with radio and just let them know where we are. We're going to level out here. It's a nice little level. Perfect. Take her down just a bit. When you get up here to 15,000 feet, you're above 10,000 flight level. So technically, you can go a bit faster than you could do if you were a bit lower. However, since we're only doing this short flight to Portland, I don't think we need to, fly through the skies too fast. We're just going to take it nice and easy here. Some beautiful scenery here. I set the weather to be clear so we could see all this stuff, because nobody wants to fly and not be able to see anything. So, but I gotta tell you, that's pretty. Let's just take a peek at it. Man, oh man. It doesn't look like much on here, but you gotta use your theater of the mind. You've got to really use your imagination. I mean, that is essentially what it would look like as best Microsoft simulations could replicate. However, just use your imagination and make it more dense with detail, and you know, maybe like maybe it's not covered in snow in your brain, but for us here at 15,000 feet, it's wearing a cloak of snow, and it looks absolutely beautiful. Wow, wow, wow. It's so pretty. Yike-a-rooney. Check out the sun there, just, you know, at this angle. This is what pilots do, I think. I don't know what pilots do up here, because I've never been a pilot, and I've never actually opened the door and walked through during a flight, because I don't think you can, but listen. I don't know what else they do. They look out the window. Hey Larry, is that St. Helens? I don't know. That could be it right there. Oh, what about that one? I don't know, man. Check the map. Yeah, we're gonna take it up a bunch here because it's farther away than I thought. So you'll see a significant increase in speed. You might even hear it. Beautiful flight. Beautiful flight. I think also it reminds you how big, you know, just a mountain in general really is, because it seems that this has been in our view on this side forever. You know, we're going about 500 miles an hour, so it just gives you an idea of, like, if you were in a car, it would seem like you would never get Mount St. Helens out of your left window. You'd just be seeing it all the time. And then, of course, if you go the other way, then it's on the other side of the window. Does that make any sense? Probably not. Wait a minute. I wonder if that's it. No, that's not a significant thing. This is much better. It's much bigger. That's got to be it. We're at 15,000 feet still, and we're probably doing about 500 miles an hour, which is acceptable speed at this height. If we were a bit lower, if we were at 5,000 feet, it'd be a little bit more dangerous because the terrain, of course, is 2,000 plus feet in the air compared to the ground. But also, you want to take it pretty slow when you're down there. You know, there's a 250 cap on that speed, so you don't want to go over 250 down there, because you will get absolutely destroyed by FAA. Is that who they are? FAA? Flight Federation Air thing? You know what I mean. The FAA. It's a pretty strict registry, I'll be honest with you. And, I don't want to entangle myself with the Federal Aviation Administration. There you go, administration. You know, a lot of people that I fly sims with, my friends who fly simulators, are in love with the Airbus, and I don't hate it. I just feel much more at home in a Boeing, and I know that the real good Boeing is like the PMDG, and that's like $80. I can't really afford that right now, but you know, for this particular simulator, I got no problems with this. I mean, this is really nothing at all to fly. Once you get the hang of how it handles and what all the buttons and knobs do, you're pretty much okay to do a flight like this. But flying over the west coast of the country, much more scenic. You know, if you're a fan of like geology, you've got a lot of better features, I think, out here, of course, because this is a conversion zone of our particular of United States, North America specifically, but this is a conversion zone, so that's kind of cool. You get to see a lot of these sort of like wrinkles where energy slams into each other over the course of time. On the East Coast, maybe not as much. I mean, you do have those features, Midland, and then even a bit west from the actual East Coast itself. But for the most part, it's pretty flat over there, and the views aren't the best. But this is good. I mean, this is good. So we've made some pretty good distance here. I'll take us out. We'll take a look around. Oh yeah, look at that. My goodness. All ocean there. All ocean. We'll do a quick little bearing check here. Oregon, straight ahead. Washington, right behind us. You know, Alaska, Canada, Vancouver, and then, you know, just general direction here. So you've got Toronto and everything but Vancouver and all that stuff back here. Seattle, where we just left, of course. And then, you know, East Coast is pretty much way over there. I don't know if they can see us from the ground, can they? No, they cannot. Getting some directions here from the old boys down below, so we're going to take this puppy down a bit. Take her down in speed, and then we'll drop her down to 6,000 feet. We do have a runway assignment now, and it looks like it's going to be 25R. We're going to go ahead and turn left heading 125, so we'll program that real quick. And they will help us find our way to the airport. We're going to pause the simulation for a second and just take a peek at the... Hang on a second. Take a peek at the map here. Go down here to this. I think we said 25R, right? Or is it? Yeah, it's 28R, which is all we need is right there. So that's 111.30 and 281 at a heading. gonna set the nav 1 here for 111.30. Get the heading right, which is gonna be 281. Or the course, I'm sorry. Yeah, they've got us taking a left here from our general heading. You can see here's where we were going, and they're going to take us left. And I think the idea is just setting us up for a good final, nice smooth final approach to runway 28R in Portland, Oregon. Yika Rooney. So we're doing 238, and I've actually got it set for 180, but we're at a negative 2400 descent angle, so the plane's obviously going to go a bit faster than the engine is set for. But my goal is, once it stables out, that we will still have enough speed to carry flight, and also enough speed where we're not breaking any rules for that particular altitude, which under 10,000 is 250 or less. I mean, it says 250 or less, but like, you wouldn't do 0. I guess a glider would do 0. It's not actually propelled, right? It's just soaring around. Really cool what those gliders do. If you ever get a chance to watch some of those, it's pretty good. Just YouTube it. I mean, gliders, whew, I don't know if I could do it. I mean, there's no, like, once you get low to the ground, right, you have to be on target, because getting back up, it's like throwing a paper airplane, right? There's always that dive bomb where it reaches the end, and that is it. Once you reach the end, you want to make sure there's a runway. So checking in with the nav here, we're still just carrying along, no problem. Switch over to nav mode so we can lock on in just a bit. I wonder what that one is. I have no clue. No earthly idea. I don't know what river that is, but I'm sure it's a feature on the map. You can see that nose is up a bit. That's okay. For some reason, that's just how the Boeing acts. And keep in mind, we are loaded down. We have, I can't remember the number, 30-some thousand pounds of cargo on board. Maybe more, and maybe less. But all I know is it's significant enough to where I had to do the little conversions for how fast you can land, and how much fuel, and the simple stuff that you do when you're a sim nerd. But man, this is such a fun game, and it's such a fun thing to do. It's so relaxing too, just to be up here, and you just sort of feel like you're making these really important deliveries. Is it a game? Yeah. All right, but closest I'll ever be to a pilot. Yeah. So this is a good view to give you an idea where we are. This is the airport right here. Okay, and our runway is probably about right here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna fly straight like we're doing right now, and we'll take a right, maybe around this river. We'll take a right, and we'll start to line ourselves up with that runway, and it will make landing a bunch easier, I tell you. There's really no guessing involved here. As long as your navigation is set, you should be okay. There's no such thing as, you know, auto land. I hear that thrown around a lot. There's really no such thing as that. There's certainly auto alignment, but the pilot of the airplane has got to maintain speed to create lift, or else he's going to go down and crash and kill a bunch of people. So there's really no auto land. You still have to be very much a fantastic pilot, you know, to bring a plane down safely. So navigating to the runway takes some skill, but landing the plane, I think, is absolutely, based on your experience and skill, is one of the most important things you can do. And there's no autoing that. There's just lining yourself up. When you intercept the glide slope and it starts to help you control your altitude, it's not controlling your speed, okay? It's not controlling your descent angle. It's helping you set that angle, certainly, and it's going to guide your plane, but all of that is based on your speed. So if you come in doing, you know, 250 or something like that, there's no hope. There's no way to get the plane down. So you've got to know what to do and when to do it, and it's very important. Put it at 200 here, so we're sort of coasting in. I'll take a peek at the old GPS here. We'll probably start to turn right here. I'm thinking maybe go here. Here, and then down to PDX. We actually got to cross over one small regional airport to land at PDX. I'd be curious how they deal with that in real life. But who knows? Alright, we got to turn left 155 here. I'm sorry, right. And like I say, we're going to make that right leg of this flight, and it should put us on a pretty good course to bring her down. Nice and easy. UPS. We're going to drop our speed down a bit. Not that much. I love the sounds of the plane. This is not the default sounds for the Boeing 737, though it is the default 737. The sounds are something I downloaded from Steam actually, and I've been very happy with them. Like I said, when you can't afford the PMDG and you can't afford like the Just Flight stuff, this is the best you can get. You sort of try to trick it out as much as you can, and I have done that, and I love it. Yeah, just about past the river where we thought we might have to turn. That's what's happening here. So far so good. Yeah. That's I know. Yeah. Don't tell me. Should have turned it on before. I know. Yeah. One of my good friends is a flight simmer, and he's much better than I am, and he has a much better setup than I do. And I can imagine him saying, "You didn't de-ice before takeoff," and I would say, "Yeah." Going on radio here with Portland Approach, and hopefully getting some final directions. It's been a real smooth flight. It's just we've not encountered any problems in the way of turbulence. It's just been really smooth. Not a cloud in the sky. Again, I said it that way. I don't think it ever looks like this on this route, and also on this part of the country. Like, you're dealing with 2,000 plus feet of altitude, so that's going to cause disruption in the climate. There's going to be clouds. There's probably definitely going to be precipitation at some point along this route. But because I cleared it, I just wanted to make it so we could see for miles and miles. And gosh, I tell you what, I'm happy I did, because these are really pretty views. And I can't imagine what this must look like in real life. I mean, I bet these pilots are just glued. Just, wow, look at that. And, oh, is that national park? Yeah, wow. Oh, man. Hopefully they're, just looking at this stuff. But I feel like at some point you just got to go, whoop. Man, look at that mountain, Jim. Yeah, you're right, Peggy Sue. It's pretty. Oh, yeah. All right. How are we doing? We are 5,900 feet in the air. And we are looking pretty good. Oh, boy. Boy, oh, boy. I'm liking this. I am liking this. I gotta do a search at some point, because I've thought about this a lot, especially when I'm doing my flights for my virtual airline. Why is my nose so high on these finals? But I think that's just, honestly I think it's the default 37. I don't think that the PMDG would do this, because that, let me tell you, the PMDG is the real deal. Yeah, looks good. You're doing very well. Still at 6,000 here. Take a peek at the GPS to see if we can... Oh, we're going to be turning pretty soon. Yeah, we'll be... So there, that is our runway. And we are going to probably start turning around here. And then that will be the final heading. There it is right there. Okay. Just drop her down to 3,000 feet. Yep, that's 2,000. I'll fix that in a second. All right, take this down just a touch, just a touch. And was that 255 or 250? 255, no problem. As any avid Microsoft Flight Simmer will know, these buttons are real touchy, so you know, you may hit it twice and it like takes off 100, so you just always be mindful of that. Alright, so we're looking pretty good here. What we'll do now is we'll go ahead and lock the nav hold in. And see if it'll pick us up here in a bit.
2,500.
Yeah, okay, there we're now under the glide slope, intercepting the glide slope, so we're looking really good on this flight so far. Give her a little flaps, just a touch.
$1,000.
Speed-wise, we're looking fine. There's, like I said, there's going to be a bit of an angle here. That's fine. That's what you want. I'm going to go ahead and drop the landing gear in just a bit, right after we make this last turn. This down. So a couple things I'm looking at here. Just watching my diamond on my PFD, my flight display, and that's going to help me know a few things when I've locked onto the runway and if I'm level and things like that. So far so good here. We are looking good. Alright, making the final turn to line up with the runway. We'll take a look outside, see what it looks like. That is a fierce angle. My goodness. I just don't know, guys. That's... I'll have to look into that. I don't think the real good 37s would do that, but it's fine. Alright, we're about to start the descent here to the runway in just a bit. We're going to wait till this diamond lines up about right here. Once these two edges are lined up with the white line here, I'll lock it in and we'll see if we can get a good descent rate. We're certainly not going fast, so we should be able to go down nice and smooth here. All of our lights are on. We're looking good there. Can you see the runway?
2,500.
We'll zoom in a bit so you can see that. Go over this bridge and make a nice landing here in Portland. I imagine it's pretty fun to, if you're a sort of a flight geek, that in Portland you could stand on this bridge, or at least see the planes going overhead as you're driving. So that's something that the people who love airplanes might do. I don't know. Yeah, so just to give you an idea, we're almost full flaps. Landing gears down, so we are ready to go. And we're coming down nice and smooth here. Runway's lined up pretty good. I like to keep the runway just about here. Maybe just to the left of my fire warning. So that generally lets me know, or even when it gets closer, this might move over just a bit. So, but anywhere here is good. I mean, never here. Think about your perspective, right? So we are cleared to land runway 28R. We're going to acknowledge that landing clearance now. And there it is. Once we get on the runway, we'll cycle over to the signed gate, and this will be cargo. This is not passenger. So I believe that this, if I remember correctly, that's on the backside of Portland's International. So we're sort of going to get kicked to the side a little bit, but as it should be, right? We're not hauling people, right? We're hauling fruits,
1,000
and vegetables, and maybe like a bicycle and some iPads, and probably some computer parts of some kind, I'd say. All right, so we're looking really great here. You always want to have white and red. That's good. So we know that we're at the right speed. We know that we're at the right height, and we're being received. So that's a very good thing. I'll slow her down a little bit here. We don't need to go that fast.
500.
Yeah, so you can see that line right there. It's just sort of lined up right there, and that's how I kind of keep my eye on that. Make sure I'm pretty good with the runway.
300.
Runway's here.
200.
Don't sink.
100. 50, 40, 30, 20.
That was a hard landing, guys. It was a hard landing, but we don't have passengers, so it's okay. Oh, there we are. We're straight over here. Okay, so it's actually, cargo is on the far left. It's not the far right like I thought. I'll tell you what we'll do. We will, yeah, we're good. Put this over here. guys an idea what that looks like. Looks good. All right. Well done. Good flight. A little bit of a bumpy landing. Let's take a look at the landing, actually, because I'm not convinced that I did very well there. I mean, usually I'm much more smooth. I don't know what happened there. Let's try. Let's do 90 minutes. Oh no. We gotta go farther than that. This is an instant replay, obviously. Oh, it sounded rough. It sounded really rough, didn't it? No, we don't want to go that fast, right? So we'll do like 150.
500.
Let's just take a peek from the outside. I mean, right here,
400.
it's fantastic. So it always feels worse than it is.
300.
So let's just see, let's look. Let's see what happened.
200.
Well, this is good, actually.
100.
No, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good.
50. 40. 30. 20.
Hey, not bad. Okay. It could have been okay. It could have been smoother. But that right there, that's not gonna hurt anybody. It's not gonna damage. I think we're okay. Yeah, that's not too bad. That's not too bad, guys. I think practice makes perfect. So you just got to keep doing it, and once you're comfortable, it should be much better, and also should be much smoother as well. All right. Well, that's a good flight there from Seattle to Portland. We will do another one.